Please, can I now give the floor to Peter Cheese for his feedback and further perspective. Mr. Cheese, if you wish to come here, I think you'll be more comfortable.
Thank you, Jean-Luc, and thank you, Olga. Well done. A lot of work. I mean, I participated latterly in some of the discussions, so I take no credit for them. But very interesting and wide-ranging debate. And as Olga started off by saying, when you look at the future of jobs, the future of work, there are many different influences on that, all the way from the demographics of young generation and what young people want in the world of work, how technology is impacting work, and so forth. So. And I thought that the group had captured a number of those dimensions very well. I mean, you started off with a very important statement about creating more opportunity, more fulfilling working lives. If you look at many of the trends of work today, that is not often what we've been doing. People in work are becoming more and more stressed. The opportunities and fairness in work that they see are becoming more limited. They see people at the top doing very well, but people at the bottom not doing so well. We've got growing imbalances between the world of education and the world of work, which also creates many challenges, particularly, for example, for graduates who might have a big debt when they come out of education. They're not finding opportunities to work. So a headline that starts with the notion that we should be creating more fulfilling working lives for more people is a very powerful and important idea. And it links to a debate that I see a lot of, which is increasing the focus on well-being and the focus of people or humanity in work. Because I think many organisations and many of the processes and practices we've created have not always been the best for people. So that's a very, very good start, and a very important place to start. He then brought out things like entrepreneurship, the importance of entrepreneurship, or intrapreneurship as well, and innovation. Well, clearly in a world which is changing as much as it is, and at the pace that it is, then we all need to be able to innovate. We need to be able to think differently. We've got to bring all of the talents of the workforce together to help us figure out what's next. And the idea that all the strategy happens at the top, and people at the top of organisations tell everybody what to do, has long gone. The reality is that we've got to create environments that encourage people to contribute, and that we bring diversity into the workforce to bring different perspectives on the many changing issues that businesses face today. And that leads to a very important business construct today, which I and many people talk about, which is greater agility and adaptability in a fast-changing world. You talked about gender balance. Really important, and I would extend it beyond gender to diversity in general. So we know we've not made enough progress. I mean, how long have we been talking about basic gender balance in organisations, yet we've still got so much to do. Now we talk about ethnic diversity, educational diversity, age diversity, or even diversity in how and where we work. So that agenda is a very, very central one to creating, again, more fulfilling working lives for more people, but also more diverse organisations that can utilise that diversity of experience and background to drive innovation. And we have to look at things like flexible working practices, biases and cultural differences and all these other things, and fundamentally train managers better to understand diversity and understand their own biases in that process. We then talked briefly about impacts of technology, which is a huge subject, and I know that Andreas and your team obviously looking at the digital world and what's going on, and I talk about this a great deal, the impact on jobs, the impact on skills that we're going to need in the future, the impact on how and where we work, new organisational forms, the impact on how we collaborate and even how we learn. Never been such a profound set of changes that the digital revolution is creating in the world of work. So it has to be really, really important to us. And then you close with Gandhi. And I often quote Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world. So when you wrap all of these things up, and perhaps what we didn't quite get to in the commentary was, what are we going to do next? What are we going to do different? Well, at the first level, it is about what we take back to our own organisations, what you said yesterday, Jean-Luc. What do we take back to our own organisations in these kind of conversations and say, what are we going to do different? And even if we start with a premise that says, let's understand our workforce today, let's project forwards 5 years, what kind of workforce are we going to need? Do we understand where our diversities are or where they are not? Do we understand, are we creating the kind of cultures that we need for our businesses to survive? So start with yourselves, which is the Gandhi point. And then the other things that I'm very interested in, and be interested to see how, perhaps particularly across these different areas, we can combine on the bigger policy discussions. What is it that we've got to change at the macro level of policy thinking and regulatory environments, which are way behind on many of the issues we're describing here? Whether it's employment law or benefit systems, are way behind where the world of work is moving. And if we as an entity and these different experiences can help to influence that agenda as well, then I would be all for it. But I think your point at the end was right. Start with ourselves, understand these issues, and what can we do within our own organisations and personally to make a difference on these incredibly important agendas for the future. So thank you very much.